Let's be completely honest for a moment. In your own mind, you're probably a genius, aren't you? You imagine yourself at the pinnacle of success, enjoying a brilliant career. You can visualize it with such clarity it feels almost tangible. But what does your actual reality look like? You're likely flicking through your phone for hours on end. Every new year, you design the ultimate vision board. Yet, as the months pass, you find yourself in the exact same position. When you glance at your list of tasks, you feel a sense of total suffocation. If that sounds like you, please realize you aren't the only one. There is a massive population of people with high ambitions who are completely paralyzed. The most painful part isn't that you are lazy. It's that you know you are capable of achieving great things. Yet you simply cannot force yourself to take that first step. But here is the encouraging news. You aren't fundamentally broken. You are just trapped in a quiet, psychological snare. I am going to explain why your mind constructs its own roadblocks and provide a system you can implement immediately. When you possess massive dreams and a tendency to overthink, beginning a task is much harder. Your talent for analyzing every danger turns against you. So, what is really going on inside your head? Psychology identifies a concept known as cognitive dissonance. This is a state of mental friction from the chasm between your ideal self and your actual self. In your imagination, you are highly disciplined. However, in the real world, you sleep in late and waste hours on social media. The distance between these two identities produces a quiet, persistent psychological ache. To cope with this, your brain develops protective mechanisms. You don't want to face your lack of self-regulation, so you start making excuses. You tell yourself, I'm just burnt out. I'll be more productive tomorrow. But that tomorrow is nothing but a fantasy. When the next day arrives, you simply recreate the same cycle of avoidance. After a long, unproductive day, you lay in bed and replay your failures. You imagine this self-loathing proves you still care about your dreams. However, that shame only depletes your mental energy. This causes you to wake up exhausted and more prone to lazy impulses. Your lack of action isn't a flaw in your character. You are a casualty of your own body's survival programming. To fix it, you must stop the self-judgment and view your brain as hardware. Why is it so effortless to scroll while working feels like moving a mountain? It's because a biological war is waged inside your skull between two systems. First, the logical center, the prefrontal cortex, which houses your long-term goals. Second, the survival center, the limbic system, a primitive part with no concept of the future. Its sole mission is to conserve energy and stay away from pain. When you begin a challenging project, your logical brain knows it's beneficial. But your survival brain perceives nothing but stress and a massive expenditure of energy. It immediately activates a defense protocol, hijacking control from the logical brain. It generates feelings of nervousness or fatigue to force you to quit. It drives you toward an easy, safe, low-effort distraction. That is exactly when your hand moves toward your phone. Social media platforms are built to trigger dopamine releases in your brain. Dopamine is not a pleasure chemical. It is a chemical for reinforcing behavior. When you dodge work, your stress vanishes and dopamine surges. Your brain quickly logs a lesson. Avoiding work keeps me safe. You do this every day, carving out a powerful neural track. Your laziness is just your survival defense system working too hard. This system shields you from temporary discomfort, but destroys your long-term prospects. You are currently stuck because of three very subtle psychological traps. The first snare is the motivation myth. You stay on the couch, waiting for that lightning bolt of energy to get moving. In reality, motivation is nothing more than a passing emotional state. Betting your future on an unstable sensation is a failing strategy. High achievers understand a fundamental law: action must come first. You have the formula backward. If you force yourself to work for just the first 10 minutes, your brain provides a dopamine hit that fuels the drive to keep going. The second snare is the shield of perfectionism. You wait until you have more time or better tools for the perfect launch. Perfectionism isn't about high standards. It's a defense mechanism for your ego. As long as you never actually try, you get to maintain the fantasy of immense potential. If you do the work and your initial result is poor, you have to deal with a painful reality check. Procrastination protects you from that ego bruise. It feels safer to be a lazy person with limitless potential than a struggling novice. But keep this in mind: you can fix a messy draft, but you cannot fix a blank page. The third snare is the trap of passive consumption. Because you want to reach your goals so badly, you become obsessed with finding the perfect strategy. Your brain gives you a false sense of achievement. This is actually the most sophisticated version of procrastination. Your brain tricks you into thinking that gathering data is the same as taking real action. You don't suffer from a lack of information. You already know exactly what needs to be done. Now I am going to provide a roadmap of 4 principles to rewire your nervous system. Principle number 1: embrace the friction. Permanently discard the notion that you will feel comfortable when you begin a difficult task. You will feel bored. You will feel resistance. Your brain will keep sending prompts to quit. Accept this friction as a natural part of working, like sweat when lifting weights. Without psychological resistance, your discipline cannot develop. Your objective is to take action while the discomfort is present. Every time you stay focused, you are making a physical change in your neural structure. If you can push through that first window, the momentum will take over. Principle number 2: make the task ridiculously small. You feel overwhelmed because you're letting a giant pile of work crush you. The fix is to reduce the task to a level so absurdly low, your brain can't say no. If you want to exercise, your only goal is to put on your gym clothes. Your goal is to sit down, open the laptop, and type one single sentence. If you want to tidy your home, your goal is to pick up one piece of trash. By making the request tiny, you don't trigger your brain's alarm bells. An object in motion stays in motion. Once you type that first sentence, the massive wall is gone, and a natural momentum is created. Principle number 3: engineer your environment. Many people assume disciplined folks have endless willpower. Science proves the opposite. Willpower is a finite battery that drains. By mid-afternoon, your willpower is dead, and you finally give in. Do not rely on internal strength. Use environmental design instead. Charge your phone in a separate room, out of sight and out of reach. Use software to block distracting websites during your work blocks. Make bad habits incredibly difficult, and make working the only easy option. Principle number 4: strategic forgiveness. Most people think if they fail, they should beat themselves up to be more motivated. Neurologically, that self-flagellation is productivity suicide. Guilt and shame trigger stress hormones, and your brain's reaction to stress is to seek cheap dopamine. Punishing yourself at night increases the likelihood you'll waste time the next morning. Self-compassion is a physiological tool to deactivate the cortisol response. If you wasted the day, that is simply an objective fact. Analyze what went wrong, let go of the emotional baggage, and reboot for tomorrow. The agonizing distance between your highest ambitions and your quietest days is never a sign of an unfixable character flaw. It is merely the expected friction of an exhausted mind trying to navigate a physical environment built around endless distraction. You can finally let go of the immense guilt you carry when an afternoon slips away into seemingly meaningless habits. Choosing to forgive your past procrastination is the exact psychological shift required to safely unlock your deep reservoir of motivation. What is one incredibly small spatial change you can make tomorrow to fiercely protect your energy from unnecessary daily choices? If this resonated with you today, write down your honest realization in the comments where others will actually hear you. The heavy burden of endless self-doubt is finally softening, and your quiet momentum is already beginning to build again.